All right, we are joined by Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo, Cassius Winston, and Aaron Henry. Let's start with opening comments from Coach.
Well, it was a tale of maybe two-thirds of a game and a third of a game, and I'm going to take it as I'm pleased because it was good to get Cash back on track a little bit here. And Aaron was pretty solid until we started giving up threes, and give Georgia a lot of credit. I give Tom a lot of credit. Did a better job than I did keeping his team in the game. I think we got to learn that when a guy gets hot, that's a prolific scorer. If somebody let Cassius do that, he could maybe not make the shots he made, but we got a lot of guys letting them get into the rhythm and then trying to guard them and actually doing a hell of a job, but it's too little too late. I thought we quit running. I thought I did a poor job of substituting. I was going to make this guy next to me play today, and I did. But Foster Lawyer played pretty well. If I could have got him a couple minutes here and there, it probably would have helped him. We're still struggling at the four. And yet, early in the game, Marcus did a lot of good things. Just disappointing to go back, but I'm happy for Tom and for Georgia. That's the true colors of a team, to be down almost 30 points and find a way to come back and almost tie it up. So a lot of work to do yet.
Thank you, Coach. I'll open it up for questions for the players. We got one in the front left.
For Cassius and Aaron, what was the conversation last night leading up to the game amongst the players trying to get set after the disappointing loss?
We focus on a lot of just focus on within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We got all the pieces, we got everything we need to be a really good team. We just got to figure out what's gonna get us going and how everyone's gonna bring their best each and every night. And that's more of a less than focusing on our opponents, less than focusing on the outside noise. We got to come together as a group within ourselves and make that commitment to ourselves to be the best that we can be.
Everything was more of an internal conversation as far as what we can do to control the things on the court when we go out there and we play. Of course, we got other teams to play, and they have great players, but if we don't do the things we're supposed to do within ourselves, it's going to be hard to even get to that point where we have to focus on them.
Thank you, Aaron. We have a question in the front right.
Both you guys. When Edwards started hitting those shots, I guess how did you rally to kind of stop them at that point in terms of he's hitting shots after he gets into that rhythm that are just, turning around, just throwing it up from way outside?
It's tough. You know what I'm saying? Once a player like that gets going, it's the reason why, he got all the hype. It's the reason why he got a name like that. You let a player like that get going, it's very difficult to slow him down, and that just feeds it to everybody on the team. So, you got to focus on, getting the rebounds. You can't let him get second chances. You can't turn the ball over. Things like that, that's going to just kind of keep the game in your hands as much as possible. Those are the type of things that we got to kind of shore up at the end.
We put an emphasis on, a scorer like that, not to let him get going. And once we let him get going, it's hard, like he said, to get a player like that, just to slow him down. So, got to do a better job of that and just continue to play solid defense.
Thank you, Aaron. Another on the right.
It's for Cassius. Your coach mentioned he wanted you to play tonight. And did this feel like, from the sideline watching you, it looked like watching what we're used to seeing from Cassius Winston. 10 for 16, I think, only a couple turnovers. Did this feel like the best you've kind of felt, I guess, on the court in a while?
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough day too. I think I cried before the game and things like that. But once I got out there, I was able to find my rhythm. Find my piece out there on the court, and that was really, really good for me. Getting up and down. Just having that rhythm that I usually play with. I feel like this is the first time I kind of had it in a while.
Aaron, over here, I wondered what conversations you have with a guy like Anthony Edwards when he gets that high. I know he's smiling at you a little back and forth. Have you dealt with guys who have been that hot before, and what's sort of the conversation that's happening on the court when that's happening?
More of like, he's just trying to get going, It really wasn't too much conversation. He was doing more talking to me, but, I'm just playing the game. And he hit some tough shots, credit to him, I felt like I was there on some, but I got to start earlier and make sure he doesn't even get going. So that's where I got to improve. And as far as the conversation goes, I mean, I don't know too much about it. It was loud. It was loud in there for sure.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, we'll let you two get back to your team. We'll take questions for Coach. Got one on the front right.
Hey, Tom.
I have something to say once they leave. You know, guys, especially for our writers, we've gone through a couple tough years. I've gone through some things that I never dreamed I'd go through. And when I was going through them, they told me that the facts don't matter. The facts don't matter, and sometimes in some of these things we all went through. Well, damn it, I'm here to tell you the facts do matter. And the fact is, I had to get that kid off the bench up in that locker room because Rocket Watts said to me, Coach, everybody else left. Him and Rocket were left. I look over, there's a puddle under his chair, a puddle. He's been struggling. His mother's been struggling. I actually enjoyed the way you asked that question, Matt, because you did it so gingerly. And to be honest with you, that's the way I'm coaching him. You know, it makes what I went through 2 years ago seem like nothing, because we always try to make games or events in our life and death. This was life and death, and it's hard. I mean, I know what happened yesterday, but we got beat by a good team that played well, and they really did, and they deserve all the credit. But that even wasn't half my player out there. Not only didn't he play the half because of foul trouble, but then he was back. It was just a wicked day. And I've been told by the people in it there's going to be these ups and downs. So somewhere, if one guy says I'm making an excuse, there's going to be a fist fight. Because the facts do matter. They matter. And the fact is, the best friend in his life lost his life. And we are struggling as a team. But he is struggling as a human being. And so when I listened to you ask that question, that's how I've coached him. You know, Cash, you got to play better. But I know you're giving me your all. You gingerly ask questions. This ain't going away. We're just going to try to build on it as a family. And I'm going to listen to Tony Dungy. I'm going to listen to Reggie Winston. And I'm going to try my hardest to coach him back to normalcy, which means I have to be normal too. It's the most difficult thing I've done. So now I'll open it up to any questions that has nothing to do. He played good today. But there was a lot more went into him last night mentally than went into my preparation for the game. And I don't want to take nothing away from Georgia. I thought that was an unbelievable comeback by one of my best friends in the profession. And Ant-Man, you know, I recruited Ant-Man. He's every bit as good as Steve Smith told me. So he deserves it. My only negative, I thought Aaron let him go a couple times early. We had him which way we wanted to force him. We didn't do a good job. But once a guy like that gets in his zone, so it was Therese Maxey, you know, and it was my man from Seton Hall, and now it's this guy. You know, you tell your players when you're highly ranked, people are going to bring their best. I'm not sure that we're mature enough yet to handle that with some of the losses we've had of Langford and really Winston. So we're going to grow on that. So now I'll open it up to any questions. Thank you.
Coach, you over here, you talked about Foster, and I think he's a potential opportunity for scoring. I mean, he's a great scorer coming out of high school. What can you do to kind of get him more involved in your offense?
Well, the problem we had with a team like this tonight, Tom started those big guards and strong guards, and to put Cassius and Foster in there together would have been a way to do it offensively. Defensively, it would have been a struggle. And yet not everybody has the, you know, the sad part is we did such a good job of guarding Ant-Man. We did such a good job of running the ball. We did such a good job of taking care of the ball. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I mean, they go zone and we throw the ball right to them. I mean, it was But I think, this group is a little fragile still, and this group is very young still. The experience we had, some of it's gone, and the experience that we're going to get better. But we got an All-American that's probably gone through one of the toughest things that any human being would go through. And we're just going to have to keep working them day to day through that and see if I can do a better job of getting a couple of those other guys. I told Foster, it's interesting you asked that. First thing I said in the locker room, Foster, you got screwed by your coach. You played good enough to play more minutes. And yet, let's not forget this. When they cut that lead to 10, to 8, to 2, different times, we answered the bell too. That wasn't easy, and we had some guys make some big plays. But boy, you got to give Ant-Man credit. I mean, he made some shots that I wouldn't even allow. The church league team I used to play on take, and he made them well.
Xavier seemed to have a tough night again, but he does hit that shot late. When you talk about answering and stuff like that, what are your conversations been with him as he's, I guess, struggled to some degree offensively, and what do you think of his overall play? Because his game is not entirely a
Well, I
scorer.
finally get my shot at the media, so this is a good question. Thank you.
Set you up.
When there gets to be talk about NBA and doing this and doing that, it really affects different people in different ways. And I think he started putting too much pressure on himself. He's fumbled the ball. I mean, dunks and layups. And the last 2 nights, what did he get tonight? 15 and 11. I mean, that's a 21, 22-point night. Last night, he should be leaving this tournament right now with averaging 20-some points and probably 13, 14 rebounds, and we don't think he's playing great. So, Xavier has, as I told him, the things he did last year, you always listen to the outside world and think you have to do more. The reason he became a household name is because of what he did last year. So don't worry about changing those things, and I think he has a little bit, but I think he'll bounce back.
Tom, I did want to.
No, you're good. Last question.
I did want to ask you about this. You mentioned the 4, still struggling with the 4, and you made the switch in the starting lineup. Just kind of your thought process, where you're at with that right now. What
Going to
you're trying
really
to do.
be hard on you guys, both in media and talk radio, because I'm going to probably change it again and again and again. I'm not happy with it. There's different guys bring different things. Everybody has a serious plus, and everybody has a couple minuses. Even a guy like Malik had played so well, but, a little bit tougher in different positions, kind of. That high post, he struggled a little bit. Marcus did a great job first half. When he gets tired, it kind of goes down. Julius did some good things. And Thomas Kithier's he's just got to play harder and not go in a game and take a 3 the first shot he takes, So everybody's got some issues. Coach got some issues. We had a bounce-back game. I mean, it was a disappointing loss last night. We had a bounce-back game, and like I said, half of last night was spent on our mental health. That's not good when you only have, 20 hours or 15 hours to prepare for a team. But that's the way we're going to be for a while, guys. And at the same time, I love the way Tom's team played. Came back, they attacked. They got a lot more fast break points than us. Didn't rebound quite as good, but for their size, and he should be on him about that because that's one of mine and his staples. But I thought the things we wanted to do, not shoot as many threes, get the ball inside, we did that. Not turn it over, we did that for about 2/3 of the game. Defend, we did that for 2/3 of the game. One of these days we're going to put a whole game together, so appreciate it. Another game tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach.
Great basketball team, one of the premier programs in the country. And we finally figured out in the second half what it takes to compete at the level that they play at. And that's what it was. We did not sustain that. We got off to obviously a good start. I think it was 15-11, somewhere in there. We were right in the game. But then we let our guard down a little bit. And as impressive as what Anthony did with the scoring, I'm far more impressed with the spirit and the energy. I'm more impressed with the 14 deflections. I'm more impressed with the way the ball was pushed. And when our team, with Anthony and Severe, when they figure out how good we can be, running, throwing the ball ahead, rim running the way that we did, we'll get a lot more confidence in our game. We'll get a lot more confidence in our team, and we'll get a lot more confidence that will help us to build some sustainability. But to play Dayton yesterday and to play Michigan State thus far, two tremendous programs, two very, very well-coached, tough, disciplined groups, gives us an idea of what this has to look like. Now our goal is that we embrace it. And the hardest game for this team, probably all season long, will be tomorrow. And we've got to get them to understand that. But if we're growing in maturity, if we're growing in leadership, if Anthony and Ray are real leaders, they're going to understand what we've got to get done to be able to come in and compete against either one of those teams tomorrow. And that's the key, because it's really easy to look at it and say, okay, we did some good things, but we still didn't win the game. And that's what we got to make sure that our players understand that as we move forward and get hungry to get that next game.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take the first question for the players on the front left.
This one's for Anthony. It seems like, and Tom mentioned it, you and Severe have a really good chemistry when you're out there together. You can kind of play off him because you don't have to handle the ball as much. How much does that play into the production you had in the second half there?
I mean, not just Severe, the whole team. The guys were behind me no matter what. We played hard. Severe's a great PG. We got great players all out there on the floor, and Coach is a great coach. So we just play and do what he tells us to do and let the chips fall where they may.
Thank you, Anthony. We have another on the front left.
Excuse me, for both of you, what did you learn in the second half about your team, both of you?
We learning. You know, playing against great teams like that, they're a great team. You learn how to play against physicality and things like that, and we learn from it. You know, we try to get better from it, and that's really it.
I think we learned that we got a great group of guys, tough, just being tenacious rebounders no matter what. Just playing hard, man. That's all it's about, and having fun.
Thank you, Anthony. We'll take one more from the front left.
This is for Anthony. You know, coming in with the hype you always have a bullseye, and it seemed like the second half you made sure you were taking it personal, and it really pushed your game. What has it been like to play through all those kind of expectations?
I mean, when I step on the floor, I don't really care about what people think I should do on the court. I just play for my team. I've always been a team player. My team's always behind me. Like I said, Coach is a great coach, so we just do what he tells us to do and just play ball.
I would add to this. He's got an infectious energy with him with his teammates that is rare. And obviously he scored a lot of points today. But like I said, and he brings confidence in that. But the way he moves the ball, and if we can build on what he did with pushing the ball up the court like that today, and that's going to pay major dividends for us. Because obviously he's going to be at the front, as is Ray, of anybody's scouting report. And when you're moving the ball, and when you're getting lost in the game, and when you're attacking and doing those type of things, it sometimes puts a scouting report on hold. All right, when you're not playing as quick, when you're not playing as fast-paced, when you're not moving as well, then it brings the scouting report to life. And we've got to make sure that we continue to understand that. And he's for a young guy, he's doing better and better all the time at learning that.
Thank you, Coach. Any other questions for the players? All right, we'll let the two of you get back to your team. We'll open up for questions for Coach. Front right.
Tom, just the individual performances that you saw tonight, both Anthony with his game and then Cassius with everything that he's going through. I guess, where does this rank for you in terms of individual performances, and what do you see that?
Yeah, I've been a part of some great individual performances, but it's really hard for me as a coach 20 years in to grade an individual performance when you don't win the game. I mean, and that's hard, because that would have made it a happy story. right? But the bottom line is Anthony's just scratching the surface. And if he will build on the leadership that he showed today, on and off the court, on the floor and off the floor today, the way he did, and if he will continue to attack, because we gave him the challenge of guarding Cassius right off the bat, and I don't know if that was met with there were a few eye rolls probably from my staff on that, but he's got to rise to the challenge. He's a kid that wants that type of challenge. Well, when you say that, you're going against one of the elite guards in all of college basketball. Probably, if there was an all-decade team of point guards, you're going to put Cassius Winston on that. I know he's only played 6-7 games this year, but he beats you so many ways, and he loves the pass. You know, our whole thing is we did not want to have to overhelp on him. We made some mistakes on screens. We knew that Tillman and the front line would come out with their hair on fire today, which they did. And what Cassius does is he's become such a better shooter. And like last year, I think of his threes, 39 of the 84 threes he made were off the dribble. Right? Well, now he's able to do even more off the catch, right? Like, he can do so many different things. His range is increased. He loves to pass. You overhelp, he's going to find the lob. He's going to find the drop-off. And when you got a guy like that that doesn't predetermine what he's going to do, that's what makes him a special, special guard. Like, obviously, Tom has his sets and he has the actions that he wants to run. But Cassius can do so many things from a predetermined way, or without predetermining it, and that's big.
Thank you, Coach. We have one in the back left.
Hey, Tom, two for you. First of all, when a guy gets into that zone, I mean, that looked like it was out of body there for a second.
It definitely was.
Do you just kind of back off and just let him go?
A little
bit. What do you do?
A little bit. We keep trying to, the thing to me is you got to keep coaching the game to get to the bonus, because you're not going to beat those guys if you don't get to the foul line, because you got to be able to set your defense. So the jump shots were good, but we needed to keep attacking the rim. And he was feeling it, right? And that's the first time I've been around him when he feels it like that. And really, we're going to look back at the film. When he misses, I could spend all day talking about what we're trying to do to build him fundamentally. But when he misses, it's always pretty clear why. And today it was pretty clear why. Because he was stepping into it, he was releasing it quick, he was holding his follow-through. Even his step back was straight up, not falling away. Those things are important things. But to me, the way that he was, this is the first time he's really understood, I can attack that defense in the fast break situation. I mean, that's what Michigan State is. Michigan State's a fast break, rebounding unit. That's what we've always tried to be where I've been. We've got to get that built. We're not there yet. But that's a step in the right direction with that. The next step for us, and it goes with Severe too, is how much better we're going to get at throwing the ball ahead. And we started to get better at that in this game. Because he's not going to have those out-of-body experiences every game, but the ball's got to move that fast and that quickly and that efficiently for us to take the next step as a team.
And when you have a guy who has just so much attention in all ways that Anthony gets, what's the biggest challenge in keeping everyone else engaged?
Oh, they love him. They love him. Oh, and that's always you're always going to have especially early in the season, right? Every team goes through it. Every team has guys that are going to get a little jealous, going to get a little sullen, get a little quiet, and I get it to a degree. I mean, that was a heck of an atmosphere to be in. And we didn't go to the bench much inside of that. Once we got on that run. So I get that. But every day with him, he moves the ball at an incredibly high rate. He took some leadership steps today. Now the next big thing is going to be, can he maintain it? But he is there's times in practice, especially, he passes the ball too much, right? And he will predetermine. And that's part of being a young guard. He will predetermine what he's going to do, where a guy like Cassius doesn't really predetermine. Or at least if he does, he don't let anybody know. He makes the play when it's the right time to make it. So that's what we got to learn. But if he didn't engage himself with his teammates the way that he is, and if he wasn't working, I mean, we gave him the Cassius Winston matchup today. And it's important that he feel that challenge, and he had to respond to that challenge. So if this is not going to be a situation where a guy's playing one end of the floor and just shooting the ball, it's never been that. It'll never be that. I'll never coach that. And that's what he's going to thrive to do. And I think it's one of the reasons he came, is because he bought into the fact that we were really, really going to hold him accountable. He didn't know what that meant when he signed, and it took him about 3-4 weeks to figure it out. But he's figuring it out, and we're going to continue to do that.
Coach, since Sunday morning, you kind of had the theme about toughness and the physicality of this tournament, and even through yesterday's presser, and then Today you're down 26. How important was it to see your team get off the mat and really fight back
extremely.
to build on?
Extremely. Yeah, it's not, there's no, you coach 20 years, you don't have moral victories, right? It's not. And I don't want them to feel that because we didn't win the game, right? But the bottom line is identity doesn't always come out in a win. Our identity, the proper identity, started to come out today even though we lost the game. And you're trying to build an identity. It's early in the season, okay? We've got to be able to understand what will cause us to lose, all right, before we really understand how to win. And the first half caused us to lose, and the second half was starting to teach us how to win. Now, how do we put that together over a period of time with a young group? That's the trick, and that's what we got to continue to work on every day.
Thank you, Coach. Last question here on the front right.
Tom, how you doing?
Good.
Aaron Henry is a guy just sort of scratching the surface
Yeah,
for Michigan State and looked more aggressive today than yesterday. What, from an opposing coach's perspective, his ceiling and what sort of matchup issues he can create for them?
Well, Tom's lucky that I wasn't at Indiana anymore because we'd have never let him get out. I mean, I love him. I loved him when people didn't really know who he was because he was a blue-collar guy, very blue-collar, played for a great high school coach. And I'm proud that he is at Michigan State. I'll go back to 364 days of wanting Tom to be highly successful, right? But he's going to be fantastic because he's making better decisions. He can shoot the ball. He can rebound. He can post. He's a multi-purpose player. Really, to me, he's a little stronger than he was at the time. He's going to be on the Morris Peterson train there. I mean, I see the symbolism there. And I'm not big on comparisons, but that's one that stands out to me, not just because they're left-handed, but Morris grew to be a guy that could do a lot of different things. And that's why he's one of the all-time greats there. And it took Morris a little while to mature, where Aaron looks like he's really pretty mature for a player. And he does a lot of things for them. So he's going to be one of the premier players in the country from the wing spot because he can play multiple positions. He can do multiple things. He can guard multiple people. And he's very trustworthy. I haven't asked Tom this, but he looks very, very trustworthy on the court. And when you're trying to win a game, you got to have trust in your team.
All right.
Trust in the players on the floor. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Coach.
You good? All right. Thank you.